geopolitically torn world, with tariff headwinds, the economic survey is actually very reassuring on the state of our economy. We seem to have done well with our growth rate at around 6.5% and retaining the distinction of being the fastest growing major economy for the fourth year in succession. I think other than sustained growth, some of the other factors that have held us in good stead are the fact that, we are being able to restrict our fiscal deficit to 4.4% of GDP. And this is particularly credible as capital expenditure has gone up. From pre-pandemic times when it was around 1.7% of GDP, it's now in financial year 25, it was 4% of GDP. And the revenue expenditure, which was 13.6% of GDP in 2022, has gone down to 10.9% of GDP in 2025. This recalibration, while still keeping expenditure under control, has allowed greater spend on more productive capital assets like infrastructure, which will have a very positive impact on the long term. The other sort of encouraging fact is that the tax base has been widened, which has resulted in the share of direct taxes going up from 51.9% in the pre-pandemic period to 58.8% in FY25. And this is despite the fact that individual tax rates were rationalized last year, corporate tax rates were rationalized in 2019, and yet what we are seeing is that the number of tax returns that are being filed has gone up from 6.9 crores to 9.2 crores, which makes a very compelling case for lower tax rates and better tax administration and compliance. Actually, there's one very interesting statistic that caught my eye in the last year data of taxes collected, and that is the amount that the revenue earned from the sale of shares by promoters through the OFS route. And that number was 33,000 crores. Now, this is amazing unlocking of wealth, which will actually again come back into the private capital space and will have a multiplier effect. So while the outlook remains steady, which is expected to be around, GDP growth is expected to be around 6.8 to 7.2%, it'll be interesting to see what the budget announcements look like and if the finance minister has borrowed from the chief economic advisor's advice on strategic sobriety. I really love that term. And that the focus continues on fiscal consolidation, push on ease of doing business, structural institutional stability, pushing domestic consumption and exports to take our dependence away from imports and help stabilize the rupee.